Don't you recognize me anymore? No, it's me, Antonio Greco, the voice of Era. Okay, anyway, it's been a rough year, guys, so I want to remind you all to be kind to each other, be kind to yourselves, and keep moving forward. I hope you guys enjoyed TennoCon 2021. Oh, one more thing. I haven't gotten a haircut literally since the week before last year's TennoCon, so perfect representation of how the last year has gone. Yeah.
Hi everyone, it's Max here and I voice Ballas. It's lovely to be working with the team at DE again, and it looks like they've got some really exciting stuff coming out for you guys really soon. Have an amazing TennoCon, and I hope that maybe we could all be together this time next year. Have a great time. Fingers crossed. Take care. Bye-bye.
Welcome to TennoCon 2021. I know that a lot of you have probably lost track of time, and that's understandable. Over this last year, we've had to endure the darkest of times. But dark times make room for the brightest stars. Never let your shine diminish, for you are the light of tomorrow's Stardust.
Hi guys, my name is Ryan Lawton, and I provide the voice for Nihil the Glassmaker and also Boone in Warframe. I hope you guys are having a terminal TennoCon, because you're straight logical, fam. Check.
I had the craziest dream that I slept through TennoCon. Hi, Tenno. How are you? I'm Keaton Talmadge, but you might know me better as Mother. I hope you have an amazing time at TennoCon. Be bold, be brave, be fearless. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go see what trouble my family is getting into. Farewell, my darling.
Hey Tenno, Kim Ramon here, voice of Kaylee, daughter in Trotty. I'm not just someone's daughter. I'm me. I'm Kaylee. It's been such a blast getting to know the Warframe community. Definitely an exciting highlight during my year as a hermit. I'm stoked to have been invited to participate in TennoCon 2021's Sounds of Warframe. How fortunate are we to still be able to connect virtually when it's not yet safe to do so in person given the current circumstances? But y'all already knew the wonders of the interwebs, connecting with fellow Tenno from around the world through Warframe. So, thanks for all the fish. Be kind to yourself and others. This too shall pass. Keep safe and well.
Hi everybody, my name is Lucas Schoenemann, and in lieu of an in-person TennoCon, I wanted to set up a Zoom call.
What is this? What's going on?
We're saying hello to everybody at TennoCon.
They can go to Blazers. They murdered the Tube Man.
Okay. Did you want to say anything, sir?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I don't think this is working.
We can hear you. Just go ahead and say hi.
Hello, mighty Parvos. Grant me your insights into digital networking.
Fine. Mr. Anyo, did you want to say anything?
What? Oh, yes, you. I need another drink, please. And remember, I like the blue umbrellas.
Okay, Rictus. Anything you want to add? That's actually really nice. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. Bye, everybody.
Leave.
No. I need another daiquiri.
Go away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the TennoCon 2021 Sounds of Warframe panel. For the next little while, we are joined from all over the world, maybe all over London, who knows, we'll find out, by some very special guests to talk about the sounds of Warframe. This means things from the game design sounds to putting quests together, and of course, the music of Warframe. So all this and more with some special sneak peeks behind the scenes will be covered here, and we're just gonna get started. So I am very, very honored to be joined by three wonderful guests today, and I will be hosting it. My name is Rebecca Ford, and I, work on Warframe, do some voice here and there, but I get the pleasure of working with these three talented individuals. Why don't we start off with you, George?
Hi, I'm George Spanos. I'm the audio director on Warframe.
Hi, I'm Eric, and I'm a sound designer on Warframe.
And last but not least, from the Backlit Enterprise.
I'm Keith Power, and I've written some of the music for Warframe.
Yes, indeed, and we'll be talking about that, indeed.
Most of the music, a lot of the music.
Yeah, it's interesting, George. You never put my songs in that I write. What's with that, George?
Well, I'm waiting. The problem is your rate is just really high, and I haven't found a good way to tell you, but yeah, we can't afford you, man.
You can't afford me. Oh, okay. Well, that's a first, but I probably shouldn't put that in, but that's okay.
I'm super cheap. For the cheap.
Keith is super cheap, so.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. But yes, so for those of us viewing, this is a pre-recorded panel. We're recording safely in advance of TennoCon, just so that we can get you all as much info as we can in this panel, and we're going to be covering lots today. We are going to start with talking about the game design sounds of Warframe. You know, when you're playing on your couch or if you got your headphones on, you get to enjoy a lot of beautiful sound, noises, effects made by the team here. Then we're going to talk about the quests of Warframe. This year we released Call of the Tempestari and we released the Wave Rider quest. And you know, since we last connected, we released Heart of Deimos, and we released a lot of other things along the way, so we'll take a look at some conversations there when it comes to writing. And then, of course, the music of Warframe. This year has been very special for Warframe music, and we have a lot more special things to come, especially perhaps in the form of a new war music teaser. So don't go anywhere as we go through all things Sound of Warframe. Our team has been working remotely for the better part of a year and a half now on all things Warframe. And in that time, not only have we released Heart of Deimos, the open world, we've also done everything that 2021 had to offer, from Orphix Venom, to Sevagoth, to Call of the Tempestari, to 2 Prime trailers, and, you know, Yareli got out there too. And we're also working on what we're going to be showing today at TennoCon. So that's a lot of sound content the team has made. And again, we've done it remotely. So how has that been for you know, adapting to work from home? George, Eric, how's that life going for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's, you know, it's funny we're 15 months into this now. It was March 2020, I guess, that we started to work from home. And I was skeptical at first about how that would go and how, you know, we'd get everything done, but it's worked out really well. I mean, one of the things I think that you'll always miss is the in-person contact, right? And that's a tough thing to replicate. Even if you've got Skype, even if you've got Zoom, you still don't have that contact with other people, which is vitally important, but we make it work. You know, I mean, I think, you know, we've all worked on the game long enough that we all know what needs to be done. And we're able to make it happen in that sense. So it's been good from that perspective. Just the social interaction is definitely a hard thing to try to get back.
Definitely. I think we all miss our morning hug that we do every morning before we start the day.
Yes.
But yeah, just to add to what George was saying, there's a lot of stuff I think that we're learning too about how to work with each other by working from home. So there are some positive things that are coming out of it. And I think when eventually we do return, we'll be able to take some of that with us back to the office. So,
and you know,
so far, yeah.
Speaking of your imminent return to the office, whenever it's safe to do so, I walked into the building today and I noticed the entire back of the building has been renovated to have a custom sound studio. Is this something that you secretly worked on while we were all locked at home?
I'm so excited. I shared a bit, if any of you are on Twitter, I shared a bit like probably about 2 years ago now about us tearing it down. Tearing some of the old rooms down to make way for the new sound studio. And then, of course, we started building it just as COVID hit, I think it was like December 2019. They started building it, and we were like, oh, I guess we have to shut it down. But we were able to, in between waves and doing things safely, the construction crew was able to come in and finish it off. And it's pretty much ready to go for us now. So when we're back in the office, we've got, what is it? It's about 6 new edit suites, 2 new recording floors, 2 new big control rooms. We put in Dolby Atmos. So really excited. There's a lot of really cool things coming up. And the cool thing is that now we'll move all the cobwebs away because it's just kind of sitting empty, but it'll still feel new, which is awesome, right? I mean, it was completed, I guess, the end of last year, so it's just been sitting empty for like 5 or 6 months, but it's there and it's waiting for us. So excited about that.
Have you actually gone in yet, Eric, or have you only heard legends of this Dolby-supported studio?
I have been in once a few weeks back when I was passing by the office just to take a look, and yeah, it's stunning. I think it's going to allow us to really push the envelope with the sound and explore different avenues through recording Foley, things that we weren't able to do as easily as before. So I'm excited. It looks great.
It's not going to look as cool as what Keith has behind him, though.
I know. I was just going to say Keith's just still like flexing on us. So like he's got all his hardware. I see some engineering mixing boards there. But so you look like you're pretty well equipped, Keith. Does that mean that the work from home angle has actually, or are you even at home? Have I just assumed that you're somewhere you're not?
I'm at home. Yeah, it's a building separate from my house, so it sort of feels like I'm commuting to work. I walk from the house to the studio, but yeah, it's been more of the same, more working from home for me. Weirdest year ever, but more of the same, work from home.
You're equipped to do so that is, fortunate at least. But it's, everything that everyone has been working on, the community has been just ablaze with love and enthusiasm for all the sound team work, all the composing, all the music. And I think they've been quite, I don't want to say spoiled, but a lot of what has come out this year, I think surprised a lot of the players. I think another full song with lyrics coming and Sleeping in the Cold Below, which we'll talk about when we get to the music part. And, just Warframes that vary so much in style. Like, how do you go from Sevagoth, the edgiest Warframe we've ever released, to Yareli, who is based on a kawaii magical girl archetype? Like, these things are very different.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's, the cool thing about Warframe is there's always something new and interesting to work on, right? So it's sort of like one day you'll be working on something that has, that is kind of like Yareli and is kind of more playful and kind of more joyous. And then you'll go towards something like Sevagoth, which is more kind of cryptic and whispery and creepy sounding. But that's cool. And I think, and I think I speak for the rest of the team as well, but I think that's one of the big selling points for all of us to keep working on the game is that it's constantly something new and it's constantly something exciting. It lets you build your own palette of sounds. It lets you build your own career in that sense too, right? So you're always doing something fresh and exciting. So I think that's one of the good things about working on the game, actually. Yeah.
Eric, have you got to use any odd vegetables in your palette of sound building? I remember last year you became famous for your brief appearance with the Brussels sprouts, and I'm just curious what garden has been pillaged for sounds this year.
Well, of course, Brussels sprouts are my go-to. Whenever I design a sound, I always start with the Brussels sprouts, but sometimes I've got to use lettuce, and definitely hand-picked from the garden sounds way better than store-bought.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Not as much pesticides to weigh the leaves down, right? They don't quite pick up on the microphone the same with pesticides.
Exactly. You got it.
Now, I actually think we are about to, be in for a little treat here because the sound team that you guys just referred to, getting to build out these palettes and all their custom sounds, have actually prepared a video for us to take a look at a lot of the behind-the-scenes action from sound design in Warframe this year. So why don't we take a look right now?
Hi Tenno, welcome to TennoCon 2021. I'm Jeff, part of the sound team, and I'd like to take you through how we created some of the vocals for the Hound pet on the Sisters of Parvos update. For this creature, we wanted it to feel digitized, growly, and aggressive, while hinting at familiar animal or canine sounds. After experimenting with some processing on various source recordings, we came up with a recipe that could work for different vocalizations. Let's take a look at a session for when the creature becomes alerted. Here we can see some tracks with source material on them and an effects chain that is doing the bulk of the processing. Different source animal sounds were used depending on the emotional context. And for this alerted vocal set, we chose some lion source material that has an aggravated quality to it. This is what they sound like without processing. And then with. The effects processing consists of some filtering to create more vowel-like movement, different pitch shifting, delay, and some EQ and compression to control it all. Let's take a look at another idle growl session. In this case, we can see we've used a simple recording of a dog growling with a little bit more automation this time and some tremolo on the tail. Here it is before processing. And after. I hope you enjoyed this look into how we created some of the vocals for the Hound pet in Warframe. Thanks for watching, thanks for playing, and have a great TennoCon.
Hi everyone, my name is Jess and I'm a sound designer here at Digital Extremes. Today I'm going to be taking you through the process of creating the voices for our Sisters of Parvos. Let's take a look. We are going to start here in Reaper, where we've got some raw audio files from our voice actors. We have 4 different excerpts of transmissions here. These are all for the same event in game, and each one of these is done by a different voice actor. When a sister spawns in the game, the engine will randomly choose a set of dialogue from one of these 4 actors, and that will be your sister's voice or her personality for the duration of your time together, which makes each sister of Parvos you encounter feel a little bit more unique. Let's take a listen.
So, you can slap. I slap harder.
Oh, I learned to take a hit long before I met you.
You killed a weakling.
Did you ever sit alone in the office with a plasmic hole punch?
You might notice here that these files are actually pretty quiet, and also that the volume really varies even in the span of one tape. We're gonna do a little processing to make these sound nice and even, and to make sure these transmissions are loud enough so that we can hear them within the context of all the other sounds happening in Warframe. Let's take a look at Sister B over here. So, Sister B's signal chain here is consisting of a little bit of EQ, a little bit of light compression just to smooth out those highs and lows, and a little bit of limiting to bring that signal up just so it's loud enough that we can hear it over everything else happening in Warframe. Let's take a listen to the processed file.
Oh, I learned to take a hit long before I met you.
So there is one last step to putting these sisters into the Warframe universe, and that is getting this audio into the game and adding some effects to their voices in the game engine. Let's jump over there. All right, so we are here in the game engine where we are going to add a little more processing to our sisters' voices. So, just like how each sister's personality is randomized in the engine, the effects on each sister's voice are randomized as well. So every time you encounter a new sister, the game engine will set different parameters for effects like bit crush, flanger, and phaser. So, you might get a sister that sounds like this.
Oh, I learned to take a hit long before I met you. Learned how to give one, too.
Or you could get a sister that sounds like this.
You killed a weakling. Now you face a sister of Parvos, and she...
Or you could get a sister that sounds like this.
Did you ever sit alone in the office with a plasmic hole punch?
That's all from me. Thanks for watching and have a great TennoCon, everyone. I'll see you next time.
So we did just get to see an awesome video about all things, maybe a little Corpus slant there, Eric. Are they a fun faction to design for?
I love designing for Corpus, absolutely. You can kind of go wild with synthesizers, and sound designers love synthesizers. So yeah, it's great fun.
This is a trend that has been verified year over year, is sound designers love their synths. And I think since the first TennoCon, that has been a fact that's well established. So thank you for continuing.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite synthesizer, Eric?
Well, I'm going to name the ones that I have, but my most recent acquisition is the Moog Grandmother. And I've been enjoying that because it's sort of a throwback to the Model D, which is obviously a classic. So
did we get to see the Moog Grandmother in that video?
I don't think so.
Oh, you're going to have to make another one.
I know. I'll have to hold it
Scrap
up
that
and
video.
do like a...
So our players have been treated to quite a offering of sounds in Warframe this year, and one of the places that it becomes most obvious is the really curated content we do with quests. And this year we've had the privilege of releasing not only one, but two quests so far, from Call of the Tempestari to our Yareli Wave Rider mini quest, which is actually quite sound heavy. You guys had a lot of dialogue to get in there. And when it comes to these quests, and the writers working on them from Cam, Adrian, Steve, and Ryan, and everyone, what's the first thing you do when you find out we're doing a Warframe quest from the sound point of view?
Panic? No. No. Well, the first thing I do is I read through the script. I think that's a great starting point. Usually the scripts, I'm always a big fan of developing narrative and character and stories in all that we do. And so that's the important thing for me first, is to read the script, to get an idea of what needs to be done. What sound cues need to go in here. What can we do with music to amplify, the narrative? And then, of course, which characters do we need to speak in it? So that's usually the first thing. And then usually talking with the team and going through things and what we want the general feeling of the quest to be, what sounds need to go in it, if we need to go out and record any sounds. All of that kind of stuff is usually the first kind of consideration before the shovel's in the ground. And then it's just working on it. And it's game development's interesting because sometimes you'll start with an idea of something, and then by the end of it, it's something completely different, right? Because it's an organic thing, right? And you're working on the quest, and then people get ideas from different departments, or we get different ideas, and then it evolves into something that becomes an amalgamation of all of those interesting ideas. So that's a cool thing that happens too. So yeah, you're never tied into one road.
So at what point, and we can be, as honest as we need to here, because this is the panel, and that's why people are here. At what point in Call of the Tempestari did the sea shanty get added? Because I don't think that was in the original script. What was that, Keith? Sorry.
I want to know this as well. It's like, what was the origin of this crazy idea?
I think another thing for me that's always important is if you can write music that relates to the story in a fundamental way, I think it's important to do that. And so if you can develop a character's narrative and you can help the character's storyline through music, then why wouldn't you do that? It's very effective. And so I think at the beginning, the writers had an idea of having her sing a few lines, maybe it was like a paragraph of just, I don't want any spoilers, but there's a point where you confront Vala, and so she was supposed to sing a few lines there. But then we were like, hey, why don't we just do another song here? Everyone loved We All Live Together. Everyone loves when we do that stuff. And so it seemed like a great opportunity. And then, of course, I thought to myself, who would be better to write a sea shanty than Keith Power? And I wasn't wrong. And Keith aligned with some amazing people. I'll let him speak to that. And yeah, the rest is kind of history. So yeah.
Yeah, and when George called me about this, I thought to myself, who is better than Keith Power to write a sea shanty? And that's when I called Alan Doyle.
So this is a very special Canadian moment. So,
yes.
It has resonated so well with the community, so well, in fact, that Warframe players from all over the world have united to do a truly global medley of Sleeping in the Cold Below. So what we'll do now is we'll take a listen to that medley, and then Keith will bring it right back to you to talk about the creation of this now legendary Warframe song. So let's take a look.
So it's into the void, now me girls and me boys, from mother's hands we go. We'll be sailing to the sun till the voyage is done, then we'll be sleeping in the cold below. Sisters, below, below, we're going where the winds don't blow. Yes, we're all bound down to the deep, and we'll all be sleeping in the cold below, below, sleeping in the cold below.
Ship is for the hard and the quick. We roll our load and go.
There's a living to be made, and there's all to pay when you're sleeping in the cold below.
Sisters, below, below, we're going where the winds don't blow. Yes, we're all bound down
빛이 날리는 황금손도 있다네
傷つけ抱きしめ蹴りつけ慰め暗いそこでと
Сестры, вот наш совет, мы идем туда, где ветра нет. Мы привязаны к дну и приняв судьбу, мы уснем на холоде внизу, внизу, уснем на холоде внизу. Won't you lay me down on the ground of crowns and I'll be sleeping in the cold below.
Sisters below, below, we're going where the winds don't blow. Yes, we're all bound down to the deep and we'll all be sleeping in the cold. Sisters below, below, we're going where the winds don't blow. Yes, we're all bound down to the deep and we'll all be sleeping in the cold below, below, sleeping in the cold below, below, sleeping in the cold below.
차가운 금이 바다
Sleeping in the cold below.
Оставьте на холодном дне. Till we're all sleeping in the cold below.
Wow.
Man, that's super cool. I hadn't heard that before, actually.
Yeah, well, it's like we're working for we got it. The community got together. We got all these submissions, and the team put that video together, which is a true medley of the community's renditions of "Sleeping in the Cold Below."
Man, it's so cool to hear different languages in it too. That's really cool.
Yeah. So, did you ever think, Keith, that this little shanty would have such a far reach?
I had no idea. I mean, how could you expect this kind of reaction? It's kind of mind blowing.
Oh, it's beautiful. And I mean, for the process behind it, do you find yourself you write the lyrics, am I correct?
I think the lyrics for Sleeping in the Cold Below the origin was from you guys, right? It was, and I'm not sure the name of the writer.
Yeah, the writers, so Cam Rogers, Adrian Bott, and Ryan Mole, and I think a bit of Steve in there as well, wrote kind of like a framework for you guys. But if you read what they wrote, which was great, you guys really took it and made it your own. Like the lyrics, you really, you made it work within the context of the song. And we kind of just gave you the framework of, well, we have to talk about Granum crowns and we have to talk about that kind of stuff in it. But yeah, you guys really took the basis of that and elevated it into what it is, you and Alan, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I really have to give most of the credit to Alan. I remember we had a call on a Friday and we just sort of went through the materials that you sent me, and there was sort of a lot of stuff to go through. So Alan was like, give me the weekend to go through it, and let's talk again on Monday. And then I wake up Saturday morning and he has a demo ready. It's like the first verse, the chorus, and it's just like, it's all there. So it's Alan. I've said it before as a joke to in interviews, but he really did. He wrote all the good parts.
Well, it's crazy too, because you guys, if I recall correctly, did a couple of demos, and it's interesting to hear demos and stuff as well, and hear where it comes to its final thing. So maybe one day we'll release some of that stuff. But yeah, it's interesting, and I think for me, I actually have a question. Like as far as like the harmonies, the vocal harmonies, like what was your guys' approach to that as far as being in the studio with the singer? Did you guys have a thinking beforehand about what the harmonies would be around it, or did it kind of organically kind of happen?
It was actually me sitting right here with this very microphone, singing parts over and over and over, and just sort of. The original demo was in a different key. It was in a key that I could sing it in, just so that you guys could hear it. So it was a lot of me just wailing over and over and over to try and fill it out.
It was even to the point where the demos you gave me, like, you have a great singing voice, by the way. And I was like, man, this sounds great as it is, even just with multi-tracked Keith on it, right? And so, of course, we added Davnet Doyle, who did a fantastic job singing on it, and she really made it what it is. But yeah, again, it's one of those interesting things where something starts even in a different key, right? And then it evolves into this other thing, which is the final product. So that's pretty cool.
And it was such a memorable part of that quest, you know, as we were getting ready to release it, we realized when the song was coming together that, okay, we need to tease players that there's a song coming. And I remember you guys made like a standalone loop for the launcher that wasn't the song, but it was your own, you know, like little tease for it. And once we got our hands on that, we started like putting it out to the community. And I think some of them right away started connecting the dots like, this sounds really like custom and like potentially lyrical. What are we working with here? And now, you know, the rest is history and Sleeping in the Cold Below. I think it reached 1 million views on YouTube faster than any video on our channel, wow. I think, or near top. So
it only took like a few days, if I recall correctly, which is crazy.
Yeah, it was really special. So, and you know, I mean, at this point, you know, this was just pure hype for all of us to see the reactions to it. So we're just so grateful that we got to put out a song like that and get another lyrical gem in Warframe's, you know, little playbook there. And of course, everyone wants to know, are we doing a second album for sale? And
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. We've got so much material. I mean, when did we release the first one? It's probably 5 years ago now or something. So we've got a ton of music that's that we've written since then. You know, Jason Graves, another composer that we work with a lot. He's written a lot of cool music. So yeah, it'd be great to package that all up and do an official release at some time in the future. Yeah, another vinyl would be another double vinyl or something would be super cool.
Much to the surprise of myself and the Warframe community, we have begun releasing Prime trailers again. So this year, Tenno have been greeted by not only an Octavia Prime Access launch trailer, but also a Gara Prime trailer. So that's 2 fully voiced, fully scored, fully sound designed Prime videos. And you know, what a way to do 2021. And I would like to talk to each of you about bringing these trailers back, because a lot of it, you know, you got to capture the perfect gameplay, get the cinematics in, but the sound and the memorable music and Ballas's voice, it's all back. And why don't you talk to us a little bit about that process? I'll start with, let's just go right to Keith about scoring these videos.
I have to give George the credit for always pushing me to find something that I haven't done before. And that's exciting and scary. But with the 2 trailers that we did recently, I think it's opened things up musically for us. I think it's actually, I think we could do anything, just about anything musically now. Don't you think, George?
I 100% agree. Like, you know, I think when we did the Octavia one, like I showed it to some people around the office and people were like, oh, I don't know, the music's really different. Like, is this going to work? And it's like, yeah, it's going to work because it sounds effing cool, right? Like, it's going to be awesome. And I think that speaks to, you know, again, like we said, I mean, we've worked on Warframe for, 7-8 years now. You know, keeping things new and fresh and exciting, right? You know, if you wanted to hear, you know, the first soundtrack again, you could listen to the first soundtrack again. You want to hear something new. And so, again, you know, going to Keith and getting him to write some cool new stuff really worked out well, I think. Yeah, and some cool instrumentation in it, some great, like you mentioned, Rebecca, voice acting from Ballas. The voice actor, Max, is fantastic job at that. That guy, and here's a little behind the scenes thing is, a lot of our actors we direct, and we'll direct them live, you know, just to make sure that they you know, they get the feel and the vibe of things. But because Max knows Ballas so well now, he we literally email him. I'll email him the lines, and he'll send me 5 or 6 takes, and they're all gold. And it's like, which one do you want to put in? And it's like, I don't know, let's put them in. And he's fantastic at it.
So appropriate that his lines are gold in so many ways due to his Oricon nature. But
very appropriate. Yes. Yeah. And the sound designers, all of them, fantastic job on putting the sound design together for them, doing the mixes. They usually take a while. They take even though they're like a minute and a half, it's very detailed work. But it's also fun. I don't know. I mean, Eric, how do you feel about working on something linear like a cinematic and a trailer versus working on the game? It's a different experience, right? Like,
absolutely, yeah. Working on a game, you're sort of always creating an audio universe and something that you can live in. Working on a trailer is more like creating a play or something that happens and you get to observe. So it's nice to work on that, and especially working on Prime trailers with such great music and the voice, and it really helps you sort of like lift your sound design to another level, or trying to match it to the vibe that's happening. So it's a really fun experience as a sound designer to work on one of those. I love it.
I love watching them, and every time I see that there's one in progress, a part of my heart just skips a beat because I know the finished product is just going to be absolutely stellar. And I'm so glad that this year we not only got 1 but 2 Prime trailers. And this is the first panel of the day. We will be revealing the next Prime later on in the art panel and the keynote. And I actually don't know, are we working on yet another Prime video, or all things New War?
This is news to me, so we probably will. But yeah, I mean, I think right now it's all things New War. But yeah, we'll carve out some time to work on a Prime trailer, I'm sure, as we always do, always fun to work on, and, they're refreshing in that sense. So yeah, we'll do something.
We also had the opportunity to release Yareli and the first ever in-game comic quest in Warframe in the Sisters of Parvos update. Now, when it comes to doing an in-game comic, you can just take a look and read through it, but you guys made the choice to narrate it entirely in its own narrative style. How did that come about, George?
Yeah, another really interesting thing, right? Like, it's like, who would have thought we would have put a comic in Warframe? But here we have it. Kind of another organic thing that kind of came about of like, hey, let's tell the quest from a comic point of view, and and get Boone to narrate it, and write some custom music for it, and do some custom sound design for it. And Carl, who's one of the sound designers on our team, he did all the sound design for it. So as you're turning the pages, you hear the water sounds for Yareli, and you hear all the background sounds and all that kind of stuff too. So that was super cool to work on as well.
Yeah, and I think, it was such a change of pace from the Sevagoth call, the Tempestari. It was a nice balance of, Yareli, it still hit home. There was a lot of a very poignant ending there, and it was just a really special experience for Warframe players. So sound team brought it all year long, and you're about to bring it even more, because as many players have been waiting for, the New War script is done. And this is literally it right here. And
I hope no one has special vision to
No, we'll blur it too. But this is the New War quest in all its glory. It is the longest quest we've ever written. And like you said at the start, George, you start by reading the quest. So when it comes to sound design, you looked and you were picking out slots of where things are to be, designed from scratch. And from what I hear, we have a very special behind the scenes video made by your team.
Yeah, man. I just want to say, it's in three parts, and it's huge, the quest. So it's super exciting. You guys, when you play it, you're gonna love it. Like, honestly, this is the most ambitious thing we've done. From all departments, visually, audio, animation, the art, everything, super cool. And yeah, all of the sound team has been working super hard. And, I have to mention all of their names. We've got Carl, we've got Willem, we've got Eric, we've got Travis, we've got Jeff, we've got Mark, we've got Jess, we've got Slater, and we've got Jem, fantastic audio programmer. And they really make a lot of the magic happen that you guys hear in the game. It goes beyond who you're seeing on screen here, that's for sure. So a lot of hard work for all of it.
Well, let's take a look at what they've been up to in this behind the scenes of some of the audio design.
Hello everyone, I'm Carl Mattis, one of the sound designers here at Digital Extremes, and I want to show you a little behind the scenes of what lies behind the sounds of Yareli. As you may know, Yareli is all about water. She's charismatic, she flows through the levels with Merulina, and at the same time she's powerful with her abilities. The big challenge with Yareli was balancing her charisma and power in her sounds. You needed to have a sense of flow and a little bit of magic as she bends water into the enemies. It would have been ideal to have her speak in that kind of anime style, but Warframes don't speak, so that was a no-go for me. Instead what I did was capture the frequencies, the resonance shifting frequencies that are typical in anime sounds, and inject them just a little bit into her abilities. Of course there was a lot of water involved. Buckets of water filling in and out, rock splashes, all of the water sounds that I could find. I hope you enjoyed this quick look at Yareli's sounds. Have a fantastic day and keep enjoying TennoCon 2021. Ciao!
Yes, indeed, all departments at Digital Extremes are working on the new war feverishly, and tonight at 10:00 Live, you'll be getting a first look at the start of the new war. This quest has been in the making for a very long time, and you know, with the 2020 COVID lockdown, we kind of took a break from working on it because we couldn't. We needed the mocap studio, but over time, we've gotten ourselves back in shape to get all things New War on track, and we are beyond excited to give you a first look, not only from the sound today, but later tonight during 10:00 Live, a first hands-on look at all things New War. But before we, wrap things up today, there's always something very special that comes with the quests of Warframe, and that's the music that takes us through them. And I think it's going to be hard to talk about this without, getting a little emotional, but when people first played The Second Dream, 6 years ago, we'll say, without too much of a reaction that it's been that long, the music stayed with them forever. And to this day, I still see people talking about your work, Keith. And now that you're here with us today in this sound panel interview, I would kick myself if I didn't ask you about working on the music for the new war. Is this something you've started?
Very much something I've started.
Interesting.
Isn't it, George?
It is very much.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting, and George is ambitious is the right word for it, for sure. We're without giving anything away, it sort of feels to me like a reboot of the music almost. But we're also revisiting some of the themes that players will know from the past.
Did you read the whole quest before you started to try and like figure out the anchors for feels, or were you just like, no, I know what's going to happen before you know you even got to page 2?
I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing.
Perfect. You fit right in here.
We're still in early days, but it's I feel really good about how it's taking shape.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier too, the script is so huge that I felt bad to say to Keith, here, read. I don't know, it's got to be like 300 pages, right?
Yeah, don't put a number on it, George. You're going to give everyone anxiety. But yeah, it is the longest quest we've ever done. So.
And so it's like, you know, I've given him some videos of stuff and everything, and but yeah, like Keith was saying, a bit of a reboot. You know, there's some new themes that are going to be in this quest musically, which are super exciting, stuff we've never done before. Interesting instrumentation, interesting feel for things to really, you know, like you mentioned, Rebecca, you know, people play the Second Dream, and I have it clear in my mind that people, me watching people on Twitch crying when they were playing some of those moments. And man, that sticks with you like 6 years ago. And I still remember people's faces, and we're always trying to go for that. We always want to make people feel attached to this game that they've put so much time and effort into, and they have so much dedication to, that we're constantly trying to make you guys feel an emotional connection with the characters in the game. And Keith has been doing a marvelous job at that. So yeah, it's going to be great.
And
thank you.
I think we're lucky enough here on the sound panel to actually get a first listen to some new war music. So why don't we take a listen now? So what you just heard, you'll actually see in context tonight during Tenno Live, but it's a very special part of any quest is, of course, the kickoff. So did you know what you were dealing with, Keith, when you were scoring that, or did you just have a sense of the tone you wanted things to start off with?
There's some video that George sent, so I do have some inspiration in front of me. I think they're unfinished images at this point. But when you see it, they will be probably very finished looking.
Yeah, and I think just to speak to that music a bit, I think, you know, again, as you guys, you know, if you know the music of Warframe, again, this feels very different, right? This feels like something we haven't really done before in the game. It feels, it's got an edge to it. It's got a moving in a different direction and kind of raises a lot of questions. And when you see the imagery too, there'll be a lot of questions that everyone will have, and I think the music kind of matches that perfectly. So yeah, I'm super excited for it too.
This really does feel like the true kickoff to the new war era for Warframe. This is something that, in reality, we've been working on for years, whether or not we were interrupted by a global pandemic notwithstanding. And I'm really excited that the community gets to see the scope and the details of everything coming for our next cinematic quest chapter. That's what we're going to be building toward as a team. After this point in TennoCon, everything you see and hear and remember will be about the new war, and those memories are only made possible thanks to people like George, Eric, Keith, and all the hard work they do. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Oh, I mean, yeah. No, it's a team effort, right? And I mean, it's again one of those things where even though the people you see on the streams, you see them all the time, there's 300-400 other people who are really making this happen. So yeah, it's a team effort all the way.
It's a real privilege to be working on something so exciting and has such great history at this point. Yeah, it's really an honor.
It is. And I think after reading the script myself, I'm going to sign up for acting lessons. So if anyone has a reference number or two, there's going to be some very tough moments in this many 100-page script. So we'll have to, work and support each other to get it to the finish line and then delight our players with truly the next chapter in Warframe.
Oh, you always sound great though, Rebecca. Like it's always, and we haven't done Lotus in a long time, right? Like how long is it? When was the last?
We did some one-off lines for Orphix Venom, but other than that, I think the last true lines were the Ropalolist in the Jovian Conqueror. That was 2019, and I guess there were some other pieces here and there, but it's definitely been a while. So.
Yep. Well, it's all going to come back full circle.
It is. And this does mean that our sound panel is coming to an end. So as much as we'd like to stay forever, we do need to send you guys to a live panel up next. That's right, live in the studio, we will be bringing you a live developer Q&A with Megan, Pablo, Elise, and Eric. So make sure you get your questions ready and tune in to see what they have to say about all things Warframe. Thank you so much, everyone.
See ya.